Today we're on historic Route 66 in Arizona, and we are driving what we think is one of the best sections of Route 66 in the state of Arizona, the section between Kingman and Seligman, which just so happens to be one of the longest continuous segments of the road that still exists. So let's take a look at this section of Route 66 and see what there is to see along the way. In this video, we're going to explore the approximately 87-mile stretch of Route 66 in Arizona between Kingman and Seligman. This portion of Route 66 is part of the longest uninterrupted section of Route 66 that still remains and has quite a number of great things to see over its short distance. Kingman, Arizona was founded in 1882 and today is known as the heart of historic Route 66 as the highway travels right through its downtown area. Almost immediately after getting on Route 66 in Kingman, you come across the Powerhouse Visitor Center, which will be the starting point for our drive today. The Powerhouse Visitor Center is home to the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, and there are some pretty cool photo opportunities there. The Visitor Center is also home to the excellent historic Route 66 Museum. This museum has a ton of stuff, including some really great life-size dioramas. I could easily spend an hour or two there just checking everything out. The museum also holds the Route 66 Electric Vehicle Museum. The Kingman Railroad Museum is near the Visitor Center as well, which we've heard is great, but unfortunately it has been closed on our last 3 visits to the city. I guess we just have bad timing. Across the street from the Powerhouse Visitor Center is Mr. D's Route 66 Diner, which is a really cool looking 50s style diner. Apparently, even Oprah Winfrey once ate there. The Powerhouse Visitor Center makes a great starting point for this drive, or ending point if you're coming from the other direction. But let's get back on the road and start exploring Route 66. Route 66 in Kingman follows Andy Devine Avenue. The street is named for the actor who was Roy Rogers' sidekick in a number of films and appeared in movies such as Stagecoach. Devine was born in Flagstaff but raised in Kingman. We've never stayed there, yet, but the El Trovatore Motel is definitely worth a stop when traveling through Kingman. The motel started as a gas station in 1937, and the motel part was added in 1939. The motel has Hollywood-themed rooms, such as the Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, and James Dean rooms. It also boasts having the world's largest map of Route 66. Across the street from the El Trovatore is the Hilltop Motel, which has an amazing sign. Kingman isn't a large town, and you quickly leave it and head out on the open road. About 20 minutes or so after leaving Kingman is Antares. The Ranchero Motel opened here in 1965. Today, the site is no longer a motel, but instead the home of Giganticus Headicus. You cannot miss him from the road. Giganticus Headicus was created in 2004 by Greg Arnold, who also created a number of other artworks at the site. We actually did a full video on Antares, which I'll put a link to in the description, but it's definitely worth a stop while traveling Route 66. Next up on Route 66, about 6 miles past Antares, is the Hackberry General Store. Originally opened in 1934, the store closed in the 1970s when the town was bypassed by Interstate 40. In 1992, the late legendary Route 66 artist Bob Waldmeyer reopened the store, turning it into a souvenir shop. This is a really fun place to look around, and stops like this are one of the things that make Route 66 so great. When passing through Valentine, you can't help but notice the schoolhouse from the Truxton Canyon Training School. This boarding school was constructed to assimilate Hualapai Indians and was built in 1903 and used until 1937. It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2003. Just past Valentine is Keepers of the Wild. Founded in 1995 by Jonathan Kraft, Keepers of the Wild is a non-profit organization that houses rescued animals such as tigers, lions, bobcats, and monkeys. This place is absolutely amazing. All of the rescued animals there are either surrendered by a private owner, legally confiscated and placed there by a court, or are placed there by the Department of Arizona Game and Fish. The animals reside in natural outdoor habitats that are fairly large, some acres in size, and none are forced into any exhibition type setting. Still, you can get pretty close to some amazing animals. Keepers of the Wild does offer guided tours, or you could choose to walk around on your own like we did. After driving another 8 miles east on Route 66 from Keepers of the Wild, you arrive at Truxton. There isn't a whole lot here, but the Frontier Motel and Cafe, which was built by Alice Wright in the 1950s and closed in 2012, makes a great photo spot. Our next stop is Peach Springs, which is the administrative headquarters of the Hualapai tribe. There isn't a lot of things to do and see in the town itself, but there is a small grocery store, and the Hualapai Lodge makes a great place to stay if you plan on heading out of Peach Springs towards the Grand Canyon. From Peach Springs, you can see a little bit of the Grand Canyon off in the distance. This is the closest that Route 66 actually gets to the Grand Canyon at any point. Next up is the Grand Canyon Caverns, the largest dry cavern in the United States and a place that we stop at every time we are in the area. Discovered by Walter Peck in 1927, the caverns have gone by a number of names over the years, including Dinosaur Caverns, which is why you see a lot of dinosaur-related stuff on the property, but they have been known as the Grand Canyon Caverns since 1962. You descend 200 feet below ground on an elevator into a huge cave system when you take the cave tour. The tour lasts 45 minutes and is a lot of fun and pretty interesting. One of the tour's highlights is seeing the cave hotel room, which is claimed to be the oldest, darkest, and quietest hotel room in the world. We actually had a chance to sleep in the cave a couple years ago, and we did a video on it, which we'll link in the description. Something that I always think is really cool is that on this section of Route 66 between the Grand Canyon Caverns and Seligman, the Route 66 Association has placed recreations of the old Burma shave signs along the route. The Burma shave signs were a popular advertisement along the highway from the 1920s till the 1960s and would usually consist of 4 signs that compose a verse, followed by a sign that says Burma shave. These are always a lot of fun to read, but some of them can get kind of morbid. Finally, we come to Seligman, which is known as the birthplace of historic Route 66. Seligman is also considered to be the town that was the inspiration for Radiator Springs in the Disney Pixar movie Cars. I think Seligman's main street is what a lot of people picture when they think of Route 66 with its collection of historic restored buildings. Next to the historic Seligman General Store is the 1860 Arizona Territorial Jail. A sign on the building claims that this jail once held notorious outlaws such as Three-Fingered Jack, Seligman Sam, and James Younger, and even tales of an escape and shootout. None of that is actually true, however. The jail was placed there by the next-door Roadkill Cafe, but it makes a pretty good story. Speaking of the Roadkill Cafe, this is a really fun place to grab a bite to eat. Their motto is, "You kill it, we grill it," and they have items on the menu such as the chicken that didn't quite cross the road. Seligman has a bunch of great shops that are almost as fun to look at as they are to shop at. If anyone in our family is watching this and they got a Route 66 souvenir from us for Christmas, this is probably where we bought it at. It is a blast just to walk around Seligman and take everything in. No visit to Seligman would be complete without a stop at Juan Delgadillo's Snowcap Drive-In. The drive-in opened in 1953 and was built using mostly scrap lumber obtained from the nearby Santa Fe Railway Yard. The snowcap is a lot of fun, with signs advertising cheeseburgers with cheese, dead chicken, and sorry, we're open. There are also fake doors to get inside, and even a door with doorknobs on both sides of the door, really confusing everyone who tries to use it. The perfect place to end our trip on this section of Route 66 is at Angel and Vilma Delgadillo's original Route 66 gift shop. Angel Delgadillo has been called the mayor of the Mother Road, the guardian angel of Route 66, and the father of the Mother Road, and it was his work that helped make Route 66 what it is today. Angel was born in Seligman in 1927 and ran a barber shop in the town. He saw how the town was devastated pretty much overnight when it was bypassed by Interstate 40. He rallied the residents, formed the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, and petitioned the state. In 1987, Arizona designated Route 66 as a historic highway. Eventually, Route 66 associations were formed in all 8 states the highway travels through. Angel is even acknowledged in the credits to the movie Cars. So that's Route 66 from Kingman to Seligman. It is such a great drive. There are so many places to stop along the way, and even if you don't plan on making any stops, it's still a great drive, beats the monotony of the interstate, and we highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.